I think it's fair to say that bears are fucking terrifying. And I know we all watch Winnie the Pooh, or we hear of, Goldilocks with the 3 bears eating the porridge or whatever. And even bears themselves, they seem real soft. The fur seems soft. Like if you were getting hugged by a bear, like it would fix all your mother issues, and you'd feel normal. You know what I mean? Like you'd feel the warmth, and you'd be like, this is what life is all about. But no, these motherfuckers will rip you apart. They will. With one claw could rip your body in half. And they'll eat you while you're alive. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. In today's video, I want to talk about bears, and I want to get into why they are terrifying. Now, as we know, bears are very large and terrifying mammals that are kind of sprawled throughout North and South America to Europe, Asia, and even some parts of Africa. Now, there's 8 recognized bear species. I'm only going to be talking about one today, but just to mention them, there's the polar bear, of course, which is found in the Arctic region. There's the brown bear, which has the subspecies of the grizzly bear and the Kodiak bear, which are mostly in North America, Europe, and Asia. There's the American black bear, of course, as well. There's the Asian black bear, which is found in the good parts of Asia, obviously. There's the sloth bear, which I'd never heard of, which is a Indian bear. There's, of course, the giant panda, which we all love dearly. That is native to China. There's the Andean bear, which is a bear that is the only species found in South America. And finally, there's the sun bear, which is found in Southeast Asia. But in today's video, I wanted to look at the most gruesome of them all, in my opinion, which of course is the grizzly brown bear. Now, the grizzly brown bear is found mostly in North America, parts of Canada, of course, and it's Yellowstone and Alaska would be the main parts. But these motherfuckers are big. They weigh up to 1,000 pounds on average. They can be up to 10 feet tall as well when they're on their hind legs. And their size can kind of vary depending on what part of North America they're in. So if they're in Alaska, they tend to weigh up to 1,000 pounds. If they're in Yellowstone, they tend to be a little bit slimmer, like 200 to 700 pounds. They also tend to hibernate in the winter, and they come out then in the spring. But they are also known to be very territorial and very protective of their cubs. So if you run into a mother and her cubs, just lie down and accept the fact you have a slow, painful death waiting for you. There's no really way around it. They also run at which is insane to me. 56 kilometers per hour is like the speed they can run. Also, which is about 30 miles per hour for you non-Europeans, which is insane amount of speed for their size. Like, that's insane. If you're 1,000 pounds and you can run fucking 56 kilometers an hour, that is insane. On average, they tend to live 25 to 30 years, but it's also important as well, of course, to note, and this is not going to be surprising to anyone, is that they are apex predators. They're top of their food chain. And they eat up to 90 pounds of food per day, which is pretty impressive, but not surprising considering they weigh up to 1,000 pounds. And also, obviously, of course, when they're coming to winter, they have to bulk up a lot more to get through the winter months. Generally speaking, grizzlies tend to hunt elk, salmon, but they're also opportunistic hunters. So this is why a lot of human hunters tend to run into bears when they're out hunting elk and things like that, because you say you're out and you shoot an elk, a bear will claim that elk as its own, and it will be very protective of it. So most hunters will let the bear have it because it's not going to win. Unless you have like 50 people with machine guns, maybe you'll beat it. And there's been plenty of stories out there of people, especially hunters, being attacked by grizzly brown bears because over food source, because they're in their territory and they've killed an elk, and the bears decided, I'm taking this motherfucking elk, go fuck yourself, But if you look at this clip here, you can see a kind of classic scene here. There's the elk with its young calf, and when the bear notices, oh, look at this, there's a baby calf, and it starts sprinting like a mad wildebeest. And if you imagine being the calf, that small little calf, you're not going to outrun this bear. And the level of fear, and it's just instinctual, you don't think of it logically, obviously, if you're a calf, but the level of fear you must be feeling, and then to get caught by that said bear and just get ripped apart while your mother runs away. Like, nature doesn't give a fuck. Bears don't give a fuck. Bears do not care. Or they'll eat that calf alive as the calf screams in agony. And if that is not terrifying to you, I don't know what the fuck is. And impressively enough as well, like they'll also take on bison. Bison are like twice the size of bears, generally speaking. And they'll go after the baby bison, and they'll confront the mothers and the parents of the bison child while they attack it. And a lot of the time the bison will back down and leave their child to get eaten alive by a bear, which is a very impressive but terrifying situation for everyone involved. So they don't even go after the small prey, like they'll take on the bigger things as well that they probably shouldn't be, because bears don't care. They don't give a fuck. They'll eat anything. They don't give a shit. They'll also take on wolves, especially in Yellowstone. There's a big issue. They reintroduced wolves back into Yellowstone apparently back in 1995, and there's been a lot of kind of fighting for space and for food and things like that between the wolves and the bears. And bears have been known to kill wolves to eat them, especially baby wolves, like young wolves, like cubs and things like that. And wolves have been known to take on bears, especially to try get the bears' cubs as well. But generally speaking, the bears are going to win. And even when wolves capture food and stuff, bears will claim it. And wolves, even though they come in packs, they don't tend to have a great time when it comes to the bears. So it's an interesting thing to see, like the bears and the wolves take each other on, like two apex predators in their own right, and just seeing how that all plays out. Completely different animals. Like a bear could literally snap a wolf's back in half with one paw. So it's interesting to see. But another thing that's very interesting I like to watch is bears fighting bears. Like, so you'd see this a lot of the time, especially when bears are fighting for food and things like that. But there's a great video that came out about 3 months ago, which I'll show now, which is two bears fighting each other, and just seeing the level of power and speed and aggression that they have. And it's also, very impressive to see how long these fights go on for, and to see that despite their size, they don't really gas out too quickly. And usually one bear will concede. Like it doesn't seem like a lot of bears kill other bears. But one of the darkest things that bears do, and it's one of the dark side of nature that no one likes to think about, is they'll kill cubs. Like they'll kill baby bears. They'll kill ones that they even know are their own. And the reason they do this is because once the bear is killed, the mother will in a few days be open to reproduction again. So basically they do it just so they can fuck the female bear. So they'll kill the cub just so they can get their bit. It's pretty fucked up side of nature that people don't really like to talk about too much. And I had forgotten this was a fact when I researched it, so I was quite surprised by it as well. Now you might be surprised to hear, and I was surprised by this as well, that grizzly brown bears are often more inclined to act defensively rather than aggressively. And this tends to happen when they feel threatened or surprised or cornered. They tend to charge to actually protect themselves more so. And in many cases, apparently, they do this thing called a bluff charge, where it's more as a way to intimidate rather than attack. But that being said, if you're in this situation with a grizzly bear and they're doing a bluff charge, if you can stand there and be very brave, one of two things will happen. One, you will 100% shit yourself. Secondly, if you're me, you're going to run and die. But if you're someone that can stand there and just hope it's a bluff charge, fair play to you, because I definitely wouldn't be the one doing that. Now the thing that's terrifying about the brown bear, of course, is that they're very unpredictable too, though. So it really depends on the bear itself in terms of how it acts in the moment you encounter it. Or some bears will leave you alone. Others, if you're in their habitat, or if there's a cub involved, or if they're hungry, or if they're just not feeling great, they're just in a bit of a shitty humour, then I say, fuck you, you're dead. So that's the other problem with them. The scariest thing about them, though, to me, is because they're so fast and they can run long distances very quickly, and the fact that they're also excellent swimmers and excellent climbers. If you try to outrun a bear, if you try to climb a tree or go for a swim in a lake or a river close by, it will not save you. That motherfucker will hunt you down, will find you very, very quickly, and then you will die. You can imagine what it must be like for prey that don't have the capability of running or climbing or swimming. Generally speaking, you're just not going to win. All you can do is hope that the bear gets bored or just decides it was a bluff charge. Now, to be fair, bear attacks are actually fairly rare, and there's only an estimated about 40 that happen per year worldwide, which is still a higher number than I'd like, but it doesn't happen too often, and it's most of the time when it does happen is just when it's a mother and its cub, because that's when they're the most defensive and aggressive. Now there is some advice out there that you can follow if you feel it would help you, what to do if you get attacked by a brown bear. Now if you're me, you're just dead. There's just no way around it. I don't see how, but this is the general advice that they give. So they say that you should lay flat on your stomach with your hands clasped behind your neck, that you should spread your legs to make it harder for the bear to basically turn you over, and remain still until the bear leaves. So you basically have to effectively act like you're dead. And if you try to fight back initially, they tend to fight back more aggressively. So all you can do is lie there and hope that the bear will get bored. It will take a few nips out of you, and which will be excruciatingly painful, I might add. And you just have to lie there and hope for the best. Now if the bear decides, you know what, I'm going to keep attacking, then you kind of have to start making a move. So the general advice is just to start punching it in the face, which, ideally isn't the best advice. I think if you're in that situation, just wait for it to end, you know what I mean? But survival instinct, I'm sure, will kick in. Now there is some things that Americans love to do, like they'll bring guns with them, for example, but you'd have to shoot a lot of bullets into a bear to really slow it down. Another very popular tactic is to use bear pepper spray, which is something that, especially if you're in the backcountry in the States, it is very much advised, and most people tend to bring them with them. And generally speaking, it's used to kind of stop a charge of a bear acting defensively or aggressively. Now, whether or not it actually works effectively really depends on the moment on the bear. Some bears will probably find it very irritating, or if you spray the pepper spray and there's the direction of the wind is going against you, it might even hit the bear. So you might be enough to deter it, or it might be enough to just piss it off enough to think you're fucked. So either way, the situation to me is so terrifying. Like I can't even let myself imagine it too much. Like I mentioned in The Revenant, I've seen enough and I've heard enough stories of bears, especially brown bears, especially grizzly brown bears, just not giving a fuck. And they're not even killing you to eat you either. They're not even going to eat you, because you're just fuck all meat on you, depending on who you are. Although if you're the average American, you might be a little bit more meat on you. I think it's fair to say that grizzly bears are super impressive. They're beautiful animals. They're one of the top apex predators in the world that you need to treat with respect, that you need to treat with care, that you need to keep your fucking distance from. And it is strange for me, as someone who is Irish, someone who lives in Ireland, that we don't really have anything, as far as I know, we don't really have anything to be worried about, like in terms of like if we walk in our forest, like if we walk in the Wicklow Mountains or the Dublin Mountains or whatever, there isn't really anything out there, I don't think, that we really need to be concerned about. But to me, it's insanity that these Americans will go to Yellowstone or Alaska and all these places where a high concentration of bears exist that are living in, that you'd actually go into their territory, cook and eat food that would only attract the bears, and know that if a bear finds you and decides to eat you, it's going to be an excruciating, painful death. Why do it? Why do you do it? Why would you go out there and do it? I don't understand. Now, some of you might just think I'm being a pussy, I don't know, but like, why would you? Why? From what I researched, getting killed by a bear is the most excruciating, painful thing you could do. Like, ugh. You're more likely to get attacked by a bear than you are to get eaten by a shark. You know what I mean? And sharks are terrifying, as I mentioned in my last video. So I'm just personally glad that there isn't any bears in Ireland. Thank fuck for that. Because I would be hiding in this little room of mine forever, because it seems that bears in particular in the recent years, because their habitat's getting eaten away, they're getting into more contact with humans as the time goes on. And you see a lot of videos of bears, not just brown bears, like black bears as well, and in other parts of the world where they're literally going into domesticated areas, rooting through bins and going into people's houses and things like that, which is absolutely terrifying. Stay away from the bears. They are not our friends. They are not willing to cuddle or hug you, even though their fur looks soft as fuck. Then it's never going to happen. And if you're still not sure about bears, or if you still think they're not so bad, just watch The Revenant, or watch any bear kill something and eat it alive. Because I saw footage of a bear eating a deer in someone's garden, a brown bear I think it was, and that fucking deer was screaming in agony, and the bear was just casually eating it. Like, insane. It's insane. It's insane. But that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. What do you guys think of bears? Do you think they're cool? I still think they're cool. They're fucking fascinating creatures, as terrifying as they are. If you're an American, or if you're someone that's been in America or any of the countries where you've encountered bears, like, tell me your story. What happened? I'd love to know. Any close calls? Anyone nearly die? Did you shit yourselves? Because I guarantee I would. But yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace out.